We saw on Sunday the great mountaintop experience came to an end. We love the mountaintop experience, but it isn't where we're called to live out our faith. We're called to live out our faith in the valley. And the valley is filled with angst and rejection and persecution and failure and trouble and difficulty. We know this. We know that God is there, and His graces are there as well. It's the kingdom of God, but it's veiled. And so we must live out this calling of holiness and the walking as a exile in this world, because we really belong to this kingdom that isn't quite here yet. In the kingdom of God. And this isn't the only kind of idea. We saw this as they come down. They come down from the mountaintop into the valley of trouble and difficulty and failure and evil. And this isn't the only time in the Bible that we have sort of this picture of a mountaintop experience, not immediately with collision into the fallenness and the brokenness of this world. We see this with Moses as he descends from Mount Sinai to confront rebellion and idolatry in Exodus. We see in 1 Kings, Elijah leaves Horeb to face paganism of Jezebel and Ahab. And we even see in the first chapter of Mark, when Jesus has this mountaintop-like experience when he's baptized and the heavens are ripped open and God himself proclaims him as his son with whom he is well pleased, just to immediately be led into the wilderness to face Satan in temptation. What we should recognize here is that this is all a war. It's all warfare. This is what we are in the midst of. We are in the midst of warfare. This is not a peaceful time. This is a war. This is a time of war. There is something prowling around this earth that hates you. And he hates your family, and he hates your church, and he hates your God. So we must remember these things. And remember that it's a time. So I remember John Piper once saying that prayer is not so much a domestic intercom system, but a wartime walkie-talkie. And that really did wonders for my visualization when it came to prayer. How desperately I need prayer. I need it like a soldier in battle. Think about a soldier in battle entrenched into a foxhole, bombs going off everywhere, enemy coming in, reinforcements nowhere to be found. Without that walkie-talkie, he is a dead man. There's no surviving. There's no success. He needs that walkie-talkie. He needs to utilize that walkie-talkie. He needs to plead for reinforcements and help. He needs to depend on whatever's on the other end of that walkie-talkie to respond in kind and grace and power and ability. This is what it is for us to pray, that we are up against something that is too great for us on our own, that we must posture ourselves consistently and constantly in prayer as though it were our walkie-talkie in the battlefields, calling on to God for help and power and love and mercy, knowing and believing and trusting in faith that he is able and he is good and will help and come to our rescue and fight our battles and destroy our enemy. I love that analogy. It changes everything. So when we think of prayer, let's not think of prayer as just some sort of domestic intercom system, just some kind of casual, hey God, just checking in, seeing how things are going there. Everything seems to be okay here. No. We need to really see for what is going on in front of us. And it's scary. We don't want to look at it. We want to kind of call it different things, call it worldly things, and maybe even just try to ignore those things or normalize some of the things that are evil in our world. The United States of America has done a pretty good job of normalizing abortion. Murdering babies has become a norm. This is what Christians cannot fall asleep to. It's warfare. Good and evil at battle. It's not fun to look at it. It's not fun to see it. It causes angst. But Christ reminds us to not be anxious in these times, to call and place our faith on Him. If we're utilizing our walkie-talkie, there is no reason for us to be anxious and afraid and worried. But if we are not men and women of prayer, if we are not men and women who live out our faith in this valley of darkness, then we are going to live lives of failure. And there should be reason to angst. So don't angst, don't worry. Utilize that walkie-talkie. Be men and women of faith and of prayer, and see things for what they really are. See things for the warfare that you're in, and call upon Christ to come back. Because we all know the good news is that He wins. Jesus Christ wins. He really has already won. We can look at this even as guerrilla warfare. But nonetheless, Satan's shooting at you. Get a hold of that walkie-talkie. Be a man or woman of prayer.